Cron, a time-based scheduler in Unix-like operating systems. Timers, unit files whose names end in .timer and control .service files or events. But what's the difference? And why would you use one over the other? First of all, cron has been around since 1979 and initially became available in version 7 of Unix. Systemd timers, on the other hand, have been available since 2014, and while not specifically made as a replacement for cron, they can definitely be used as such. After researching both of these schedulers, here are the benefits I found to using each. For cron, it's guaranteed going to be available on every distro, and it's simple to use, just a cron tab command. And there is no built-in equivalent to cron's mail to command, but there are a couple workarounds such as cron tab parsing packages such as systemd cron on Arch Linux. For systemd timers, they have dependency support, can be attached to C groups, separation of jobs and timers, templates, one version, no sifting through different implementations such as crony, dcron, fcron, bcron, anacron. Implements full capabilities from systemd services, which brings proper CPU scheduling, resource management, non-overlapping execution, and unified logging. Systemd timers are installed in the same manner as normal systemd unit files. If you are unfamiliar with unit files, here is a table of locations that they are installed into. If you're making your own timer and service, I recommend installing them into this directory, and not just specific to your user, then I recommend installing them in this directory. Now let's create our own timer. Let's say I want a timer to execute a backup script every day regardless of system uptime. First, we must create two unit files with the exact same name, one with the .service extension and one with the .timer extension. For this, we are going to name them BKP for backup. In the .service file, we are going to put in this, a quick description of the service under the unit declaration and the type and exec start lines under the service declaration. The one-shot type tells systemd that this service is a simple service that will consider the unit started and then finish once execution of the main process finishes. The exec start line is simply the command to execute upon starting of that service. %h here is substituted for our home directory. In our corresponding .timer file, we have the same description declaration. In the timer section, we are going to have onCalendar equals daily and persistent equals true to ensure the timer will execute even if the timer elapsed while the system was off. This will ensure the timer will execute if we start our computer after we missed the timer. Under the install section, we are going to put timers.target under the wanted by line. This essentially sets up default dependencies that timers should have. The onCalendar specification is quite dynamic. We can identify the calendar time specifications with the systemd analyze calendar daily --iterations5 command. This command will show us when our timer will be marked for execution. If you want to test weekly, we can just substitute that in. We can also test more granular dates and times with the following format. We can execute this command to test a service that will run the first 4 days of each month at 12 p.m., but only if that day is a Monday or a Tuesday. There are alternatives to the onCalendar specification as well, such as onActiveSec, a timer relative to the moment the timer unit itself is activated, onBootSec, a timer relative to when the machine was booted up, onStartupSec, timer relative to when the service manager was first started, on unit ActiveSec, a timer relative to when the timer unit is activating was last activated, and on unit inActiveSec, a timer relative to when the timer unit is activating was last deactivated. In order to test these different timer implementations, we're going to make a tester service in timer. This one is going to be the same, except it's going to execute this bash script instead. And we can see what that does real quick. It's just going to echo the date so we know when the service executed. This timer is going to activate 30 seconds after we boot the machine up, and again 15 seconds every time the service activates. And if you want to see what time specifications you can put in for this, you can come over here and type in man systemd.time, and this will explain to you the format that these numbers accept. So for example, if I wanted this to be 30 minutes, I could just put an M here. Now if we want to enable this timer, or any timer for that matter, we'd interact with them through the systemctl command. In order to actually start a service or a timer, we can do it in two different ways. We can say start tester.timer, and as we see here, user status tester.timer. Now we're activated. Or we could also start it during the enable command by doing enable --now tester.timer. And now if we see the status of this timer, we can see when it was last activated, how many seconds are left, and we can also monitor the status of the service at the same time. So we can type both of these in at the same time here, and we can see this executed here, starting systemd test service 1 second ago. And let's wait a bit and then see if this date changes here, and we can see if this service was reactivated on our timer. Starting test service. All right, there we go. As we can see, this service has reactivated and has a completely different date here. So we know it is activating every 15 seconds as we have defined here. If we installed a system-wide timer or service, we just omit the --user flag. Instead, just type in systemctl enable blah blah blah. You get the point. But you'll also need to pass in sudo if you're enabling a system-wide service, whereas you don't have to do that with the user services.